A few weeks ago, we began that conversation about how important agronomy was still today in your operation. And we approached it from the angle that agronomy is local. It's important to have an online aspect of agronomy and to integrate the information that comes from that aspect into what you do. But it's also critically important to make sure that you see research and that you understand ROI and how those things impact your farm. And while that was all a great point, the last few weeks, I've spent at farm shows, and I found that there's a big disconnect between that message and the way that we interact with you, the grower at farm shows. And I want to talk about that this week. I'm Keith Byerly, Precision Ag Manager at Central Valley Ag, and this is your agronomy focus that corresponds with my article on the CVA blog site. So let me walk you through a scenario that happens all too often with us. We start off with a customer walking by our booth at the farm show, and then inevitably they see something in there that draws their attention, whether it's a service or a product that we have, and it draws their attention enough to stop and strike up a conversation with us. So as we go through that conversation, we begin to ask a lot of questions to understand what the need is that the grower is looking to fill, and the grower tells us about the challenges and asks us about some of the features and benefits of what we're offering. As we transition through that, we inevitably get to the point where somebody wants to know what the cost of that product is. And right there is the question that I want to change. As we get into these economics and ROI becomes more and more critically important, we need to change the question from what the cost is to what the ROI is. And I'm even going to challenge it one step further. From that ROI, what is the research that you have that goes behind it and proves it? My challenge for you right now is simply this. We need to think more about ROI, and we need to challenge our providers and our vendors to give us that information more and more on the front side. Cost is irrelevant. If I have a $6,000 piece of hardware in my booth and its ROI is 7 years, it has no value to you on your farm. If I have a $50,000 piece of equipment to show you and that has an ROI that's less than 1 year, that's a totally different conversation that we need to have. And that's why the ROI conversation is more important than the cost conversation. So my take home for today is this. This is a process that we need to work on together. Changing the conversation is something that comes from both you, the customer, expecting more of us, the vendors and the suppliers, and us, the vendors and suppliers, doing a better job giving you the information you need. A few weeks ago when I talked about the importance of agronomy online, I really rallied around the cry that we need to make sure that we're doing business with people that have ROIs and have research that backs those up. And I'll say the same thing about the farm show crowd. If you're looking at something and you get to that inevitable point where you ask the person what the ROI on that product is and they don't have a good answer, and they certainly don't have any RD research that is local that can back up some of those claims, that's a product that you need to just keep walking by, because it's probably either an immature product that hasn't had enough time to get local information, or it's a product that we don't have high confidence in about ROIs. And in these economic times, the confidence in the ROI is everything. So I want you to keep going to those farm shows, keep asking questions, and keep challenging people to give you ROI information, and we'll see you down the road.